Question 1 wants us to write 0.19 as a percentage. To change the percentages, we multiply by 100 to give us 19%. Question 2, we're rounding to 2 decimal places. I want to round to this number 4 here. So I'm going to have a look at the number next to it, which is a 5, which means that this number rounds up and will become 5.55. Simplifying 2x plus 4x minus x. 2x plus 4x is 6x. Take away x gives us 5x. Question 4, 3/10 as a decimal is 0.3. And question 5, cube numbers from the list. 1 cubed is 1 times 1 times 1. 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2. 3 cubed, 3 times 3 times 3. And 4 cubed is 4 times 4 times 4. You're expected to know your cube numbers up to 5 cubed, but for a calculator paper, you could type this in your calculator. So you could choose either 27 or 64. Okay, only choose one of these. Question 6. Multiple of 6 is a number in our 6 times tables. So here this was 18. The largest odd number in the list, the largest number is 28, but the largest odd number is 25. And the square numbers from the list, again 1 squared is 1 times 1, 2 squared is 4, and so on. You could have chosen 9 or 25. Not both of them, just one of those. For part B, we've been given a straight line and we've been asked to draw a line that's parallel to this line. So we want to draw a horizontal line somewhere next to this line. Doesn't matter how long the horizontal line is, just that it's horizontal. For part C, it wants to write the mathematical name for this straight line inside the circle. This straight line does not go through the middle, so it is not the diameter. This straight line is a chord. For question 8, we have a number machine. This number machine has an input. We times that input by 6 and then we subtract 4. If I'd been given 6 as my input, I would multiply 6 by 6 to give me 36 and take away 4, which would give me 32. If we're given the output, we'd work backwards. So 50 plus 4 would give us 54, and then dividing by 6 would give us 9. When we're given a different number machine, it says when the input is 24, the output is 10. 24 divided by 8 gives us 3, and then we would add 7 to give us 10. So completing the number machine, we put plus 7. Question 9, when we divide with indices we subtract, so we get a to the 6. Expanding the bracket, 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times minus 2 is minus 8. Factorise fully, we need to take the biggest factor out. The biggest factor is 6, and we also take the x out, so we end up with 3x plus 2. Simplifying, we multiply the 2 and the 5 together, and when we multiply with indices we add the powers, so we get 10x to the power of 8. Question 10, we've been given 2 fractions and we want to compare those fractions to the number 1 to work out which is closer. As it's a calculator paper, we can just type these into our calculator. 7 divided by 5 gives us 1.4, and if we do 5 divided by 7, we end up with 0.714. I need to work out which one is closer to 1. 1.4 minus 1 is 0.4, so that means 7/5 is 0.4 away, and 1 minus 0.714 is 0.286, so 5/7 is 0.286 away. This means that 5/7 is closer. Question 11 wants you to describe the single transformation. If you describe more than one transformation, you will end up with 0 marks even if one is correct. This transformation is a translation. The shape has moved to the right and down, so it's translated or it's a translation. And we need to write the translation vector. It's moved 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, and 1, 2, 3 down. Question 12 gives us a frequency table for the amount of lates that students had in a week. The modal number is the most common number. We can see that the highest frequency is 15, so that means that 0 was the most common amount of times late, because 15 people were late 0 times. For the median, we can work out the total number of students, so 15 plus 8 plus 3 plus 3 gives us 29, so the middle student is going to be our 15th student. We can see our 15th student had 0 lates, they were the last person to have 0 lates, so our median is also 0. Question 13, there's space on this question on your sheet to draw a table of values. So we want to draw a table of values for x between -2 and 2. So we know our value of x is in -2, it's sensible to go up in ones. To work out our values of y, we're going to substitute our values of x into the equation for y. So starting at 2, 2 2's minus 3 is going to be 1. 1 2 minus 3 is -1. 0 2's minus 3 is -3. -2 minus 3 is -5. And -4 minus 3 is -7. As this is a straight line graph, it's not a quadratic or a cubic, we should see the pattern that these are going up in 2's or down in 2's. We can then plot this, so we'll start with 2 1, 1 minus 1, 0 minus 3, -1 minus 5, and -2 minus 7. We then draw a straight line through this. Make sure that yours is straighter than mine. For question 14, we've been given a conversion graph converting between stones and kilograms. The first question wants us to change 3 stones to kilograms. So we find 3 stones and we're going to draw a line upwards and across to read off the value here, and that value there is 19 kilograms. Changing 80 kilograms to stones, our conversion graph only goes up to 70 kilograms, so we have a few options. We could work out what 40 kilograms is and multiply that by 2. We could work out what 8 kilograms is and multiply that by 10, and so on. Now, I'm going to read from 40 kilograms across and down, and I can see that that is around about 6.3. So 40 kilograms is 6.3, and I'm going to multiply that by 2 to get 12.6. This question has a bit of leeway. If you've got anything between 12.4 and 12.8, then they would give you the marks. Question 15. The answer to this will depend on your printing size and how much you've measured. For part A, you had to measure the distance between Appleton and Blickford. When I printed this, this measured to 7 centimetres. You then had to multiply this by 5 because 1 centimetre is 5 kilometres, so this was 35. You got a bit of leeway again, but your answer may be different if your printing size is different. For part B, we had to mark a cross that was 22 kilometres south of Blickford. The first thing you need to do was 22 divided by 5, so you knew you were drawing your cross 4.4 centimetres below Blickford. So 4.4 centimetres below Blickford, it had to be directly south, and this must measure 4.4 centimetres. Question 16 is an angles in parallel lines question. You must, for this question, give a reason for each stage of your working. If you don't give a reason for every stage of your working, you will lose at least 1 mark. Lots of ways to do this question. I thought the easiest way was first saying that this was 70, and the reason is because opposite angles are equal. We can also see that DEA is alternate to EAB, so this is 54, and I'm going to write alternate to DEA, therefore equal. We also know that angles in a triangle add up to 180, so we can work out that angle ABE is 56. Again, our reason for this is angles in a triangle are 180 degrees. We can then find our angle X. Again, angles on a straight line add up to 180. This means that our angle X is equal to 180 minus 56, which is 124 degrees. Question 17 is a probability question. First, we had to fill in the probabilities. The probability of picking a red shirt is 0.4, so not a red shirt is 0.6. Probability he picks white shorts is 0.7, so not white shorts is 0.3, white shorts is 0.7, and not white shorts is 0.3. It wants the probability that he picks a red shirt but not white shorts. The probability he picks a red shirt is 0.3, and the probability he doesn't pick white shorts is 0.3. Multiplying those together gives us the probability of 0.12. Question 18, we have a floor plan. Angie wants to paint the floor with varnish, so I'm going to split the floor up so I can find the area. The area of this section is 5, this section is 5, this part here is 4 metres because this one is 2 metres, so the area here is 40. When I put these together, we have a total area of 50 metres squared. 1 litre of varnish covers 5 metres squared of floor, which means we need 10 litres of varnish to cover the 50 metres squared. There are 2.5 litres of varnish in each of the tins, so 10 divided by 2.5 is 4. She has 3 tins of varnish, so no, she does not have enough varnish to paint the floor. Question 19. There are 10 boys and 20 girls in Mrs. Brooks' class. The mean mark for all of the class is 60. This means that in total, the students got 60 times 30 marks, which is 1,800 marks. The mean mark for the girls was 56. 56 times 20 gives us 1,120 marks. To work out the mean marks for the boys, the total for the boys was 1,800 minus 1,120, and this gives a total of 680 marks. That means that the mean is 680 divided by the total number of boys, so the mean for the boys was 68. This also makes sense because we'd expect them to get better than the girls because the average for the class was higher than the average for the girls. Question 20, we're filling in information into a two-way table. 148 students chose to study geography or history, so our total amount of students is 148. A total of 72 studied history, 34 boys chose geography, and 28 girls chose history. We can use these values to fill in the rest of the table. 148 take away 72 tells us that 76 students in total studied geography. 76 take away 34 tells us that 42 girls studied geography. Adding the 42 and the 28 for the girls tells us there were 70 girls in total, and 148 take away 70 tells us there were 78 boys in total. When we fill in the last box, we want to check we've done it right. 78 take away 34 gives me 44 students study history, but I'm going to check this below. 44 plus 28 does give me 72, so I know I've done this correctly. Question 21, multiplying fractions. We just multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. 2 times 3 is 6, 5 times 8 is 40, but it wants it in its simplest form. You can type this into your calculator, but its simplest form, if I divide both the top and the bottom by 2, we get 3 over 20. For part B, we need to make these top-heavy fractions. So 2 times 15 is 30, so this is 37 over 15, and 1 times 3 is 3, so we end up with 5 over 3. I want a common denominator. My common denominator can be 15, so I'm just going to times the second fraction by 5. 37 over 15 minus 25 over 15 will give us an answer of 12 over 15. Question 22 is another reasoning question. We've been given the ratio of number of adults to number of children in a theatre is 5 to 2. It says every person had a seat. 3/4 of the children had seats in the stall, but 117 had seats in the circle. This means that 117 is a quarter of the children. We can use that to work out how many children there were in total. So there were 468 children. Okay. If we know the number of adults to number of children was split in the ratio 5 to 2, 148 divided by 2 times 5 tells us that there were 1,170 adults. It said that there were 2,600 seats in the theatre and asked if there were more than 60% of people in the seats. In total, we have 1,170 and 468 people. If I add those together, we know we had a total amount of people of 1,638. 60% of 2,600 is 1,560. So yes, there were more than 60% filled, because 60% is 1,560 and we had 1,638. Question 23 is a currency exchange question. Laura buys a saddle in the UK for £850 and there's another saddle that's €990 but also €15 for delivery. I can work out how much Laura paid in pounds. Changing the pounds into euros, we multiply by 1.18. So this gives us 850 times by 1.18 gives us €1,003. In total, Steve paid 990 and the 15, so Steve paid €1,005. Therefore, including the delivery charge, this was cheaper for Laura. Question 24 is an error interval question. It's given us the length of a pencil is 15.3, correct to one decimal place. That means that the pencil could have been between 15.25 and 15.35 centimetres long. You could also write this as 15.349 reoccurring, but as the inequality sign does not have a line underneath it, we can use 15.35 as our upper limit. Question 25 is another reasoning question, this time with percentages. Paul bought a new car, the value was £15,000. At the end of the first year, it depreciated by 23%. So we can work out the new value of the car by doing 15,000 times by 0.77. So at the end of the first year, Paul's car was worth £11,550. After the first year, it went down by 18% each year. We want to know what this was at the end of 3 years. So that's 2 years depreciating by 18%, which is timesing by 0.82 for for the next 2 years. So at the end of the 3 years, Paul's car was worth £7,766.22. The question wants us to know whether he lost more than half of the value of his car by the end of the 3 years. Half of the value of the car is 15,000 divided by 2, which is 7,500. So no, he did not lose more than half of the value by the end of the 3 years. Solving simultaneous equations, we need to make the coefficient of either x or y the same. I'm going to choose to double this equation to make the coefficients of y the same. So the first equation will now read 6x minus 4y is equal to minus 10. And the second equation will stay the same. 2x minus 4y is equal to 2. Because the minus 4y and minus 4y are the same, I'm going to subtract these equations, giving me 4x 0y is equal to minus 12, and x is equal to minus 3. From there, I can substitute minus 3 into an equation. I'll choose the second one. 2 lots of minus 3 minus 4y equals 2 gives us that minus 6 minus 4y equals 2. Minus 4y is equal to 8, and we get y is equal to minus 2. Those are our solutions, but I can just check this in another equation. So I'm going to check that in the first equation. 3 lots of minus 3 minus 2 lots of minus 2 is equal to minus 5. We can see minus 2 minus minus 4 is indeed equal to minus 5. Thank you for watching. If you found this useful, please do consider subscribing. It is very helpful. If you have any requests of videos or any walkthroughs, exam tips, etc., please do leave a comment. Thank you for watching.